How's it going, everybody? Tyrone Smith, the youth minister here at the Church Without Walls. I'm super excited again. Hey, check this out. We're about to close out the Iceberg series. Yes, we're going to close this series out. We're going to analyze and recap the story of King David, the boy who will become king, right? It's been amazing these past couple of weeks. But today I have a special guest in the house. Yes, you're going to see a one-eyed night youth, Miss Harmon. She's going to help us actually break this thing down in bite-sized pieces to actually help you all understand, to add depth to this particular series. But remember to like, subscribe, share, let everybody know we're doing here at the Church Without Walls with the Ignite Youth Ministry. Hey, but don't leave right now. Keep it locked for Brother Keith Moses and the Ignite Worship Team. Let's get it going.
This morning, we ask that you right now come on and lift your hands in wherever you are. As we bring God's house into your home this morning, we ask that you help us worship him this morning. For he is the King of all kings and the Lord of all lords. Hallelujah. For he reigns.
Our God reigns over us, over us. Our God reigns. Our God reigns
For you're worthy, Lord. Hallelujah, Jesus.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm excited today, man, to get this thing going with Ignite Sunday Live. We have a special guest in the house. What's up, Harmon? How you doing? Everything going okay with you?
Good, yes. I'm
Hey,
great.
so glad to have you on as we prepare to actually wrap up this Iceberg series. It's been a phenomenal series. We've actually been analyzing the story of King David, right? Just kind of breaking everything down in regards to, like, you know, his life as a little boy, you know, to becoming like this great king, but yet, you know, analyzing the mistake that he made along the way. When you think about the story of King David and Bathsheba. But check this out. You know the story of King David. And this particular series really like actually paints the picture in regards to what we want young people to know and others to know about like your life. The title of the series is Icebergs. And as you all remember, like an iceberg, people familiar with icebergs, but the reality is you only see, Harmony, 10% of the iceberg. There's another 90% underneath that like nobody can identify with for the most part, like the shape, whatever. But there's 90% beneath the water. And so when you think about like life in general, there's always like depth to us in regards to what people don't see, right, or know about us. But when you think about like life, before we go into the story of King David and the parallel between the theme of iceberg, and when you think about like his life and his story, how he really wasn't identified as the chosen one, so to speak, because he had these other brothers, and it's like, you know, like that's not him. You know what I mean? Like, not King David. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to the heart. Man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And that's really what this series is about. It's really all about like your heart. If your heart is in the right place, if your heart is right, if your motives are pure, you'll do healthy things, not unhealthy things. If your heart is in the right place, you'll position yourself where you can make sound decisions. You could position yourself where you don't get caught up in what everybody else say or think or do. But when you think about like life in general, like, and you think about an iceberg and we only see like 10%, I have a question to ask you. Why do you think so many youth today are consumed by the 10%? And what I mean by that, just whatever you think. And what I mean by the 10% is more so like what people see. Like when you think about today's society, when you think about like social media, when you think about like, you know, being what people think you should be, doing what people think you should do, like as a young person, as a youth, like why do you think that's so, why do you think the outward appearance is so important?
Regarding to social media, we see so much today that we see the differences in everybody. So we are always comparing ourselves. So I feel like we're so consumed with worrying about what other people look like and what they're doing and try to be like them when we're different and we shouldn't. So.
I mean, but is there a lot of pressure in that though? I mean, to you personally, I mean, I know for me, growing up, it mattered. I mean, of course, we didn't have social media when I was growing up, so I'm not trying to age myself right here, Harmony, but we didn't have social media growing up, but it mattered to me what people thought about me. I mean, is it like that for you?
Yeah, because on certain things you're wondering like if you won't fit in or if
Right.
you want to be with the right crowd and if you want to be popular and stuff.
But tell me this though, our audience we have a wide audience, right? Middle school and high school. Were there greater challenges for you fitting in middle school or high school?
High school, there's more, because when you're older, you can do more things. So it's like you're trying to fit in more. Because in middle school, everybody's still figuring out themselves, but in high school, you have like your friend group already.
But see, it was different for me. So you say high school, for me, it was middle school. In middle school, I was my outward appearance like mattered to people. I was like King, I was like David, you know, I was like the little shepherd boy, you know what I mean? I was like the small kid, you know, people always talked about me like, you know, you're too small, you're too skinny, you got a big head, you cry all the time, why you laughing? Like, why you up here laughing, for real? Like, I was a kid that people didn't expect to accomplish or do or be anything in life because, you know, it was just people just being people. And that affected me. Right? And but when you think about like the story, you think about King David and his life and his story, he was not considered, his own father didn't think he had the skills. His own father was like, you know, and the prophet was like, dude, I know somebody, did you bring all your sons here? Like, hold on, but there is one in the field. Even his dad, Jesse, didn't think he would be the appointed king. You understand what I'm saying? And so when you think about it, man, the thing about it is people are so caught up on the outward appearance. And how do you get beyond that? Like, what does it take for young people today to get beyond thinking what other people think and feel about them matter? What would you have to say? What would you suggest?
So when it comes to getting the outward appearance and looking at people from the outward point of view, people first see what you look like and then start to assume and judge you by how you look. So
right.
It would be better to go talk to somebody that you don't normally talk to because they look a certain way. So go talk to somebody different and get to know them for who they are instead of what they look like or what they have.
Right. So don't get caught up in what other people say, think, or feel. But I think that's key because I don't think young people should be so caught up in what other people say, think, or feel about them, because God has designed each of us uniquely in our own way, right? Despite what other people say, think, or feel, and in your life and in your journey, in your story, God has positioned you for a purpose and a reason. Although the key is you have to keep living, right? Because when you think about King David, when we talked about it the first time, as we recap, he was going to be anointed the king, but he was like tending the sheep, right? He's tending the sheep, then he go from tending the sheep to being anointed. He go from being tending the sheep to being anointed to actually working for the King Saul, to actually still going back home, doing his chores. And then one day, like his dad, like, go take your lunch to your brothers. So he go take some lunch to his brothers to give them lunch. And he get there, and there's this giant Goliath saying all these foul, crazy words about the believers, and he just dogging everybody. And David like, y'all gonna let this dude like talk like that? And his brother's like, little boy, go home. Like, do you little, go back and tend to the sheep. But yet, God was preparing David, right? Is God preparing you for anything? And when you think about your life, do you think God's preparing you for something? He's already using you. How is God already using you?
Being in the youth ministry and singing and being a part of what we do here and worshiping God.
What does it feel like for you to be used by God to actually worship God as a singer? And guys, she's being modest here. You guys have actually seen her sing before. She's trying to be like low-key Lolo with it, you know what I'm saying, like shy sister, but she's not shy. But what I'm saying, how does it feel for you to be used by God in the gift that he's given you through song, through singing? I mean, you do a phenomenal job with Brother Keith Moses and the team. But how does it feel for you personally to be used by God in that sense?
It makes me connect more and actually think about life while I'm singing, because some of the words I can connect to and actually think back on past mistakes and how I can do better. So just worshiping makes me feel more.
Yeah, more in tune.
Yeah, in tune with it.
Worship makes you feel more in tune to what God that may actually help you to be. God has designed each of you all to do something, but the thing about it is finding what does he actually cause you to do. Point and focus. Like, when did you first start singing?
What I can remember, I probably started just singing when I was like 4, probably just when I could talk.
Now hold on, everybody. Start singing when she was 4. So when you started singing when you were 4, what did you sing? In the bathroom, washing dishes, in your bed, singing yourself to sleep? When did you remember, like, man, I can sing? Like, do you remember like the first moment you realized you can sing as a child?
It was this one time when it was like a lot of family members in the living room, and I was singing behind a rocking chair because my mom just wanted me to sing for the family. And so I sung this song, and everybody lit up and just was blown away. And so then that's when I like realized, okay, I probably have a voice or something. And so it just kept growing from there.
How old were you? Do you remember how old were you?
It was really young.
Like, give me like 4 or 5, 6.
It was
7.
probably 4 or 5 around there.
So now check this out. So she's 4 or 5 or 6. She's singing. Everybody's at the house. You know what I'm saying? Y'all was eating. I know y'all had some food. You know how we got some food. Y'all had some food. Y'all had family. Was it a get together?
Yes.
It was a barbecue. It was a barbecue or something. Just a family gathering. So family gathering. She's 4 or 5. She could sing, but her mom knew that she could sing. So 4 or 5 families over, grandma, cousins, everybody there at the house. Mom like, baby, go on sing. Now mama knew that God had put this in you, but she wasn't sure that God was actually positioning her based on the gift that he had gave her. 4 years old, she go behind the rocking chair, almost got stuck. Was it one of those big rocking chairs, one of those small ones?
It was a small one for me.
Okay, thank God for the small rocking chair. So we got the small rocking chair, but she was singing. And at that moment, you realized what you were about to say?
Yeah. I just remembered a moment. My grandpa, he keeps bringing this moment up. I ran to my room and I was crying because they were laughing, and then my grandpa went in there and he was like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "They're laughing at me." And he was like, "They're not laughing at you, they're laughing with you," saying that I was doing a good job and they were proud of me.
Yeah, they proud of you. You got this little bitty baby, Harmony, she coming, this baby singing. 4 years old, singing, moved the crowd. They wasn't laughing at her, they was laughing with her. They were championing her. You think about David. He came to bring the lunch. Bro, like, boy, go back and tend to the sheep. Go back and just do what you need to do. But yet, God had prepared him. God prepared King David for the moment. God actually prepared you, Harmony, for that moment. Would you say that?
Yes.
God prepared you for that moment. But outwardly, here it is, 4 years old, shy, bashful, behind the rocking chair, used by God. Singing every Sunday, singing with the adults, singing with the youth. God is using you. And so basically, this series is about understanding and knowing how God can use you, but it's all about doing it from the heart, right? Because right. God is positioned. What are you about to say? God is positioning you, and what are you about to say?
Oh, I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, because the thing about it is, I think that's the big thing that students need to realize today. Like, what is it that God's trying to do in your life to move you to a greater space and place? Is there something in you that nobody know that can be manifested for God's glory? That's basically what I heard you say as well, that you're using what God has given unto you for his glory because it speaks to your life. It speaks to your heart. That's major, man. But tell me this, though. Has there ever been a moment in time where you like, okay, you're gifted, you can sing, where you felt like it was just like too much, but you overcame, like, you know, it's like, man, I don't know, it's too much. You ever felt like that before?
Can you explain the question?
Like, for instance, like when you think about King David, he went to the camp. He sees Goliath, right? He sees Goliath, but everybody else was just like, man, we can't do this. This is too much. But David comes along like, man, I got this dude. Like, has there been a point where you feel like it's too much that's put on you?
Yeah, when I started singing in front of crowds, it just felt like I was doing too much and I was just too nervous, or like I would mess up. So it was just all that pressure that I put on myself before even actually singing in front of people. I just psyched myself out and just thought it was too much.
But you overcame.
Yes.
Because you're here.
Yes.
Harmony overcame. David overcame. Defeated Goliath. King David, well, not King David, he's just David right now. He defeats Goliath. Everybody's excited he defeated Goliath. He became this destroyer. He became this guy who was just taking care of business for King Saul. He come back, the crowds are like loving him, right? Saul has killed thousands. David has killed tens of thousands. Saul's getting mad. Saul is hating, you know what I mean? Because you got them haters, right? And so, like, how do you deal with haters? Because people gonna hate, right?
Right.
People gonna hate. You can have a heart for the Lord, but people gonna hate. How do you deal with haters?
Don't take it personally, because I mean, everybody's gonna have something that they just don't like about you, so you just can't really take it personally, and you just have to focus on what you're called to do.
She said, don't take it personal. Haters are going to hate. Don't take it personal. But hold on, but that's easier said than done, though. People ain't call you big-headed. See, and you laughing. People ain't call you headbutt champ. You know what I mean? People ain't call you, you know what I'm saying, headquarters. You know what I mean? People ain't pick on you about your clothes. You know what I'm saying? People ain't pick on you. I mean, people picked on me because I smell like cigarettes. And I was a non-smoker. So my mom and dad smoked so many cigarettes. I mean, so in that, like, just let it go.
That comes with growing. Once you grow up, then you realize that you shouldn't take it personally, because their words shouldn't really hurt, because 9 times out of 10 they're probably hurting themselves, and so they're taking that out on you.
Right, that's right. I got you. Hurt people hurt others. Let it go because hurt people hurt others. Hear what Harmony is saying. Let it go because hurt people hurt others. So you got to give them space and grace. So you're giving them space and grace because your heart is in the right place, what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, you have to be understanding into why.
You have to be
they're-
understanding. So your heart got to be in the right place. Because this whole series is all about like what's underneath. What is your heart like? Because if your heart is in the right place, it's so much that you can actually overcome and deal with when you think about the story of David, right? And you think about his heart and his preparation and his heart being like in the right place, right? But then we go to like another segment and element of the story where he's crowned the king, right? And his soldiers are off at war. And typically when kingdoms are at war, the king used to go with the soldiers, with the troops to war. But this one particular instance, King David didn't go to war. He's like, man, I'm gonna just hang out, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna take a break. And while he's taking a break, he made a big mistake, right? And I always say this all the time, life is filled with free will. Free will is the ability to make our own choice and decisions as individuals. Okay, before I go into this, have you ever made a mistake before? Like, what would be like one of your greatest mistakes you've made? Like, have you ever made a mistake that had some consequences and you got in trouble, got caught up, and have you ever made a mistake? One that comes to mind?
It would have to be just hanging out with the wrong people.
Hanging out with the wrong people. Okay, so what I shared like last week, the mistake I made where I actually wanted something, like, you know, my favorite go-to snacks were like Little David oatmeal cream pies, grape soda, and Cheetos. And why you laughing at me, for real? So I like really want these Little David oatmeal cream pies and Cheetos like so bad. And my mom was taking a nap, and you know, my mom, you don't wake up from a nap. I don't know about your mom, but you don't know my mom. Do not do that. You know what I mean? And I wanted these Little David oatmeal cream pies. I wanted some Cheetos, and I wanted some grape soda. And she was taking a nap, and I saw her purse, and I was tempted, right? And I was tempted, and I just was just selfish, and I was sinful, and I did it. I took the $5, girl. You know what I'm saying? And there were consequences. You know what I mean? There were grave consequences. Got in trouble. My mama had this leather strap that she was using, and you can just guess what happened. You know, so I don't have to go into details. I was hurting a little bit on the backside, you know, for a little while. But there were consequences, and it was a big mistake. But the thing about it is, even when I made the mistake, I still was trying to like come up with another lie to like deflect it like somewhere else, but I made the mistake and there were consequences for it. And I remember that. And your mistake is what's one of your greatest mistakes?
Hanging out with the wrong people, because I just felt like I wanted to fit in with them, but they weren't the people I was supposed to be fitting in with. So I would like just try to act like them, but it wasn't me.
Right. So what were some of the negative consequences from hanging out with those people for you?
Losing myself.
Losing yourself. She said one of the greatest consequences she had in regards to a mistake that she made by wanting to be accepted by others was actually like losing herself, losing who she was based on who God had called you to be. Because at 4 years old, she knew that God had gifted her with something, but she wasn't thinking like that 4-year-old who God had gifted her with something. She wasn't thinking like that 4-year-old who your grandfather encouraged you and challenged you to think beyond the laughter because they're laughing for you and supporting you, so you lost yourself. Think about that. We can be so caught up in regards to the outward, what other people say, think, and feel about us, that we can actually lose. Harmon, that was major. Lose yourself. Have you lost yourself? When you think, if you're tuning in today, take a self-reflection. Have you lost yourself? And if you lost yourself, how can you recover? How can you reset? What do you need to do? Think about that. What do you need to do? Because if you get so caught up in losing yourself, it's just a downward spiral. You understand what I'm saying? Have you, a downward, not that you may have been there, but have you seen somebody like that they're so caught up in what they want based on what others think or feel about them that they just spiral out of control?
Yes.
It reminds me of this guy that was addicted to drugs, and he was addicted to drugs. It was just like he was talented, he was gifted, he was a good athlete, but he was so consumed that he didn't know how to recover. But we serve a God that can actually help you recover. When I do see him, I still encourage him. I still let him know that God is able to restore him, but he has to actually have a desire to actually want to move. He has to have a desire to actually get help. And when you think about the story of King David, the great mistake that he made with Bathsheba, right? He should be at war. He positioned himself to be selfish because he got caught up in what he wanted, when he wanted, and you pretty much know the story, had a child, all of this, all because of his selfishness. And there were consequences for his actions. What would you tell a young person today that may be so caught up that they're so consumed that they don't know what to do? What would you tell that young person?
I say take time for yourself, step away from all the distractions that you may have, and get to know yourself instead of trying to get to know other people, because those other people might not be trying to know you and might not be the right people for you.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
Those people might not be the right people for you.
Yeah, and so when you think about your life, and when you think about who you are, and when you think about just the outward narrative, everybody who you think for you is not for you. Seriously. People who you think may have your best interest, they won't have your best interest. It's really about you positioning yourself by having an intimate relationship with Christ where you can be so in tune to what it is that God will actually have for you. That when the stuff comes, that when the temptation, when the issues come, you don't get consumed. I'm talking to myself right now. For real. For real. I know this guy, man, work with this guy, and he just straight came at me sideways. I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to need you to kind of chill out a little bit. Not working with me in the church, but working with me in another program. But I'm like, dude, it's he came at me in such a way that was totally out of line. I had to give him space and grace because I had to kind of think about, he's coming to me in such a way. Obviously, he's hurting, and obviously he's giving off this vibe, and he's giving off this energy because he got some stuff going on with him. And I had to take a step back and actually realize that. But at the end of the day, if you don't address the unaddressed in your life in regards to having a pure motive and pure heart and pure positioning, you can be so caught up that you actually miss it all of what God will actually have for you. Think about that. You can miss it, but you can be restored. We see that the story of David, who will become king, started as a story of not the likely candidate, not the likely individual, but yet God was preparing him for the moment. He was preparing him while he was in the field. Is God preparing you for a moment? Think about that. You may be doing something right now that you really don't too much care for, but yet it's preparing you for something. What is that something? And you may not even know what that something is. I'm sure when David was in the field, he didn't know why he was tending the sheep, God was preparing him to be king. He just being responsible and owning his position in the field, smelling like sheep boy. You know what I mean? slaying lions and bears. But God was preparing him for Goliath. God was preparing him for the battles. God was preparing him for the struggles. God was preparing him to reign beyond the situation. God was preparing him in those tough moments and tough situations. Is God preparing you for a moment? And if you're not sure, what is your heart like? And if your heart is in the right place, continue to be true to you and all that God has designed you to do and be. If your heart not in the right place and you're making unhealthy choices and unhealthy decisions, then you should question yourself. But when you self-reflect, like, man, I don't have a lot of, I don't know drama going on. I'm good. Maybe your heart in the right place. But if it's not, you got to, check out your surroundings, check out the people, right? Because one of the things we actually covered or stated, I think, with the other week was like, your personality will be like the top 5 people that you hang around. Would you say that's true?
Yes.
Why is it so true?
Because I see myself, I'm always laughing and giggly and just always being weird. So the people I hang around are always laughing, giggling, and being weird. And I just feel like I thrive off that and I'm better with that instead of someone who's closed off and angry all the time.
Right. I like that, homie. Thank you, man. So all your friends just laughing all the time. Like, if you call them, they're probably just laughing right now. What you doing? I'm laughing. Got it. Okay, so we're getting ready to wrap this thing up. So you think about this series, what we've covered, the heart. We talking about below the surface. We talking about the inner workings of a person or individual. And so if there was one thing you had to say to the camera, to any young person, any individual looking out there in regards to what we talked about, as far as like, it's all about what's below the surface in regards to your heart, your life, your perspective. If there was one thing you had to say to a middle school student, a high school student, or anybody out there based on what we shared today, what is the one thing you would share and say to them?
Get in touch with yourself and find out who you are before figuring out who other people are, and realize what you want out of your life and what you want to do for your life instead of letting other people decide it for you, and follow God and believe in the path that He has for you.
Hey, that was amazing. I can't say anything outside of that. Think about who you are. Find out what it is that God will actually have for you in your perspective, your purpose, your life, your mission, your point of view. But one of the ways you can actually find that out is really having a personal, intentional relationship with Christ. This is an opportunity right now where we extend an invitation. So if you're tuning in today and you feel led to make a decision for Christ, to actually give your life to Christ for the very first time. You remember the first time you gave your life to Christ? Yes. Do you remember really, how old were you?
It would have to be when I was in middle school or just starting high school.
So you was in middle school, okay, right? Okay, so in middle school, you may be a middle school student, you may be a high school student, you may be an adult. So today, you may feel led to make a decision for Christ. Hold on, I've never done this before. What made you give your life to Christ?
In that time, I was going through a lot, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I realized that I wanted to be better, and I wanted to do better for myself, and I didn't want to be that person that were making all those mistakes.
You may be that person going through life. You don't want to make any more mistakes. You want to be true to your authentic self. You basically saying you were sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you can make a decision. You don't have to wait. You can make the decision right now and be all that God has called you to be. That could be you. So if that's you, man, the doors of the church are now open. And it's all about you just believing in your heart. And if you confess with your mouth, you will be saved. And it could be like a situation like me where you know Christ. I knew Christ in middle school, right? But I had disconnected from Christ. And I had to recommit my life to Christ as an 8th grader. So I want to ask you, if you're tuning in and you've made the decision for Christ, it's about you rededicating and recommitting your life to Christ. You've been disconnected, you've been disengaged, doing your thing, getting caught up. You know better, so you should do better. But at the end of the day, you got to realize it's free will. It's about you making a decision. You either get sick and tired of being sick and tired, or you get to a point like, man, I need to do better. You recommit. If that's you, it's about you making that decision and being honest with yourself. Or you may be that person out there tuning in who you've been hanging out with us for the past 15, 16 or so months, and you feel led to just join this church virtually, know as a church and as a team and as a family, we're here for you. So today, if you feel led to give your life to Christ for the very first time, as Homie Sharon said, you know, she was sick and tired of being sick and tired. She wants to do something differently. Or if you even like me at one point, you feel led to rededicate or recommit, we're here for you. And if you've been joining us and hanging out with us, hey, this is a good time to do so. So if you made a decision today, I want you to go to our website, tcww.org, go to the guest tab. Once you go to the guest tab, click accept Christ or join the church, and somebody from our assimilation team will connect and engage with you to connect you here with us at the Church Without Walls. Harmony, you did an awesome job today, girl. You did. You had no idea how the Lord would use you, right? And I'm sure what you shared today moved on somebody's heart to actually make a decision. And because people made decisions, we celebrate you for being obedient to God, and we celebrate you all who made the decision, man, for understanding and knowing that God can move you from where you are right now to a greater space and place. So we champion you for that. We give you a virtual hand clap and a virtual hug for that. So we appreciate you. And home now, like I said, I just thank you, man, for being faithful, for being obedient, to just come on the platform today, just let the Lord use you through your testimony, to share your story, you know, how you sing and how you're just kind of like leading up front in youth ministry here at the church, man. So I appreciate you for your due diligence. I appreciate you for your faithfulness. I appreciate you for your smiles as well. All right? Awesome job today, girl.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody, hey, thanks for tuning in as we close out the Iceberg series for the month of October. It's truly been a blessing. Hey, remember to connect with us on our church website, tcww.org, for any information that we have going on here at the church with the church congregation, men, women, KWOW. Hey, connect with us, because as a church, as a ministry, as a team, we are here for you, and we thank you for your support, your due diligence, and being a blessing to this ministry. Hey, on behalf of our pastor, Dr. West, I appreciate each and every one of you all. Hey, before you leave, you have to receive the benediction from our pastor, the big Aristotle, the big Belichick, Dr. Ralph Douglas West.
Look this way, I want to bless you as we prepare to go into the world as salt and light. And didn't we have a marvelous worship experience today? We are so fortunate to live in an age where we have this kind of technology, where we can bring the gospel of Jesus Christ into your home. In fact, a theme we can use is bring God's house to your house. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face smile upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift the light of his countenance on you and grant you his peace. And may the Lord bless you when you go out and come in, when you rise up early and settle late, in your labor and in your leisure, in your laughter and in your tears, until that day when we shall stand at the feet of Jesus, where there's no sunrise or sunset. Be encouraged.